What made you decide to move from California to New York? The longer we've been married, we keep saying the earliest is, and it's later each time.
I don't know if I want to like get into all of that, but
we couldn't picture ourselves having a kid like in California.
It's laundry day here in the Bensinger residence. I put the laundry in, she takes it out.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Also, every good Q&A I feel like has people drinking tea or some sort of liquid. So we're gonna have a little tea here. What's the perfect tea temperature? I don't really know. We'll say 180. Okay, Lou, do you want the right or left tea? Don't look.
Left. Let's see. Is it better?
Yes. I'm Chandler.
And I'm Lucy.
And this is our channel, obviously.
And this is our first sit-down video in our new apartment.
If you haven't already seen our apartment video, watch that after this video if you want a little tour of the space.
Long story short about us, we just moved back to New York City after living in California for the past 2 years. Before COVID though, we used to live in New York City. So
we're back.
We're readjusting to life here and being here married. But we thought today would be a good day to do a little Q&A, and we've gotten some good questions. We wanted to do an episode.
That's fine to call it an episode, I think.
Episode. We wanted to do one about the transition, just kind of talking about how it's been. A lot of the questions we got in the Q&A kind of targeted that. So what better time? It's perfect. What made you decide to move from California to New York?
That's a really good question. And maybe, I'm trying to even think if we've addressed that yet. In a previous vlog.
I don't think so.
We knew we wanted to move back to New York at some point when we moved to California. We just didn't know when that some point would be.
We didn't plan on leaving New York when we did. We lost our jobs. We're both actors in the theater and entertainment industry. It felt like it was on pause. So we moved to California kind of without an end date, just unsure, but felt like it was definitely where we wanted to be.
Yeah. Or the end of the summer last year, beginning of the fall, I felt like we both had a really strong urge to want to move back, and we both didn't realize we were like both feeling that way until we just had an open-ended conversation about it, to which led us to pray about it and think about whether we wanted to move back or not. Then we ended up taking a little like scouting trip to New York because we hadn't even been back in like the past like 2 years or whatever.
Scouting is such a funny word to describe it,
I don't
as
know
if we hadn't been here before.
Do you describe it though?
You're right.
An exploratory fun
vision casting.
It was a vacation, y'all. We just took a vacation to New York, and we're making it sound very intentional. And we also posted a video about that. That's when we officially made our decision, was like a week after that, just because we wanted to come back to the city, see what it felt like.
I think our dreams in New York hadn't felt like they'd ever had closure. Especially for me, since I want to do stage, musical theater. Chandler wants to do more TV film / YouTube, but there's many opportunities here in New York for that for Chandler, but there aren't really opportunities in California for me.
To which I think we knew it would be quite different, but I don't think we knew how different. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think it also just, there was a lot of transition going on in our life too, as far as like wanting to get married and things like that, that going back to New York in 2020, like right after the shutdown, like a couple months after, it didn't feel feasible.
It also probably just didn't even sound appealing at that point in time.
Yeah.
I think also kids was a big factor in it too, right?
Like wanting, so like, we want to have kids down the road.
Like not for, earliest we could see is like 5 years. Can I say that?
I feel like the longer we've been married, we've only been married a year and a few months, but the longer we've been married, we keep saying the earliest is, and it's later each time. It used to be the earliest would be 3 years after we first got married, which would be 2 years from now. And
no, that's not that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible for us to have kids in New York. I think we actually have kind of gotten around to the idea of it, but I think
we can only see, well, not only, we're again open-handed with all this, but we really only see us having like little kids here, so like ages 1 to 5. I mean, that's so arbitrary, right? Who knows when you like actually have children, if feel differently by then.
Well, no, I think the biggest thing is we couldn't picture ourselves having a kid like in California and then being like, oh, we'll go back to New York.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Like, I think we were like, okay, if we're choosing to stay in California, why? If we just do one more year, then that year, what was it for, you know? When we knew we already wanted to be going back to this place where we already had roots, didn't feel like it made sense.
Also, we wanted to experience New York more as like a married couple without kids, more than we wanted to experience California as a married couple without kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
I mean,
never said it that way, but that's so true.
I mean, it's kind of getting to the same point, but that's also another main reason. Mainly, if we want to boil all this down, family, career, desire.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question. How do you divide up chores? Did it happen naturally, or did y'all talk about it specifically?
We did communicate before getting married what we thought our chores would be.
In premarital.
I couldn't tell you what those were.
Couldn't tell you.
And I guess that's funny that you were doing laundry earlier, and I started the load. And
oh yeah, that's a perfect example. Chandler started the load of laundry, and I switched it over and brought back, and then hung the air dry stuff.
I feel like we share things. It feels very fair to me.
Yeah.
Like we don't like. It's not like one person's mostly doing most of the chores, but we both do the cooking, we both do the cleaning. The only thing that's a little different on the cleaning aspect of things is I feel like I do more like
Gross cleaning.
gross things, or like
the toilet.
the grimy things. Like I do the deep cleaning, and Lucy does
Organizing.
the organizing. But I also do the organizing too.
Yeah, fair.
That's just the one thing that you won't do.
Yeah, I hate that.
I've never really thought about it like that.
Oh, I've told you that.
I kind of always thought of it as, oh, she does the tidying, I do the deep clean. But no, I do the tidying too.
I do the tidying more. If you saw the amount of times I do it throughout a day.
I would so believe that. I do believe that.
I would in another world.
Yeah, in like another world, I would consider believing that. So yeah, we share them.
We share them. I think though.
I feel like we know other people though that it's like very defined and it
works
for
it's
them
just
too.
all on one person because of the nature of the other person's job.
Anything else about chores?
About chores,
No.
that sounded
We
like
just-
such a we're perfect answer, but it wasn't.
No, we just like don't have a system. That's the answer.
Yeah, we don't have a system.
But
It's whoever has more time in the day.
But I do feel like we care about fairness. Nobody like gets taken advantage of, I don't think. If y'all had no food allergies for one meal, what would y'all eat?
Do you want to say it on 3?
1, 2, 3. Chicago
Pizza.
deep dish.
So pizza, yeah.
I was just trying to think of the cheesiest,
Yeah.
most wonderful thing I could think of.
no.
Either that or lasagna. What's your favorite thing about living in New York?
I like walking everywhere. Oh, I just love that when you're walking, it's the kinds of people that you can see. You can just see a million kinds of people, but also it just like everything is so graspable. Like it's just, you're experiencing a lot as you're walking.
My favorite thing, I think, is, also the walking and the food.
I was so close to you when you answered that. It was like, is also the walking.
We should do our next Q&A like that.
What's your favorite thing about
That's so funny. So, Lucy,
Do you have a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
How's the transition been?
I think pretty good. Pretty smooth. It's felt so familiar here. But at the same time, I sense like in myself a need to hurry things along and like get settled and rooted like way faster than I am, especially within routines or things. Especially considering that like we had 4 really, really close friends in California that we spent the majority of our time with.
Yeah.
Versus just like a lot more people to see here and a lot more like separate networks of friends. And so I have not figured that out yet. And so I felt a little scattered at times. Like I'm really looking forward to having a routine, especially in regards to auditioning. But yeah, just craving that. But I feel like it's been pretty good so far. I think you and I have gotten good at transition because we've done a lot of them.
You guys, we've been in transition probably for the past like 3 years of our lives. And honestly, I'm sure most people have been in this state since COVID. But for us was, obviously moving in with my family and then getting engaged was a transition. And then job transitions and then getting married was a transition. And then moving to California, transition. And then I feel like we were settled in California for a sec and then decided to transition again to move somewhere else. And there are even more, I feel like, smaller transitions within all of that. You were thinking of that one thing that whole time I was saying that, weren't you?
I'm so sweaty.
You're just waiting to say it.
Our heater turned on. I'm so
You can't even feel it yet, Lou.
Oh my gosh, I just know that it is. But yeah,
Okay.
how are you doing in
How
general?
am I doing? Yeah, there's been a lot of exciting things about being back. I think our social life has increased tenfold. Yeah, it feels very, very normal to be back, honestly. I don't know if I want to like get into all of that, but I actually lost my job recently in the middle of all this transition. So I feel like that's been the hardest thing for me, is just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do next for a job. I've had some interviews, nothing's worked out just yet. I feel very hopeful, and I don't feel like too anxious about it most days, but I feel like New York as a transition has been like pretty seamless, honestly.
Besides for the movers. We never
Yeah,
talked about the movers.
Yeah, the moving company was extremely expensive and we kind of got ripped off, but that's another story. But everything fit, and in terms of like moving day, it was very seamless. A little hectic, but seamless. So for me, it's mostly like the job transition feels like the hardest thing. Like it's making it hard to transition because
What are you transitioning to right now?
yeah, it's like I'm not completely settled,
Yeah.
truthfully. So I think it's the rhythm piece for me too. Like once we have like more of a rhythm here, it'll feel like our feet are beneath us.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
if
It'll feel like
feet
we
are
have
under us.
our feet. Our feet will be down there,
And our
supporting our
heads
little
up.
hips and our heads.
Our hinge and our hips. All right. On that note,
Hey,
thanks for
cheers.
watching. Please like and subscribe so you can follow what we're up to and our journey in New York as we
Yes.
continue on. We would love to have you be a part.
Stay tuned because we are about to go to Hawaii with Lucy's family. So we have a
Ooh,
little.
Are we gonna have a little travel vlog?
Oh yeah. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next
See you in
one.
Hawaii.